Roots 1 Leylanite Zarflower Amal. Lena, dinner is on the table. Her mother's voice startled her, dragging her back to reality, from which she felt increasingly estranged. A much more fascinating world was blossoming in her soul. In this world, still new to her, she felt at home and at peace, like someone sailing for days and finally finding land. This was a world where she felt truly free and truly herself, where face wasn't covered in acne and she wasn't wearing braces. She was just perfect, and she loved herself. Since nobody knew her, she could wander through narrow cobalt streets, taste syrupy delicacies, try on elegant satin dresses, listen to the buzzing of the open market until late at night, travel through the desert on the back of a camel, or sing and dance around an open fire. Lena, we are waiting for you. Her mother's entrance gave Lena just enough time to hide her notes in the drawer of her desk. She felt as if someone woke her up from a very sweet dream. I'm not hungry right now, she said, pretending to study her 10th grade chemistry book. What is happening to you, Lena? Her mother asked, lowering her voice. Lena could feel her mother's concern. Is there any problem at school? Tell me, what is bothering you? I'm fine, Mom. Trust me. Lena replied, trying to muster enough energy to sound convincing. I'm just not hungry. I'll finish studying and go to bed early tonight. Lena waited for her mom to close the door, then she put her pods in her ears and started dancing in front of the mirror, listening to her favorite songs. She vividly remembered the cold evening when she first heard this kind of music. It was coming from the open window of the Moroccan restaurant in her town. Lena never took that road before, but that evening the wind was merciless, and she was looking for a shortcut. That fascinating music caused her to slow down and stop altogether in front of the entrance. A waiter wearing a red fez and a kind smile opened the door and invited her in. Good evening, marhaba, welcome. He greeted her in a strange accent. The waiter headed towards an empty table covered with a blue tablecloth. She followed him slowly, as if in a haze. She sat down and opened the menu. The names of dishes and drinks were written in a language she could not understand, with delicate letters. The waiter turned the menu on the other side, unveiling to her eyes a familiar language. She wasn't hungry. She was just cold. She ordered Moroccan mint tea. While waiting, she looked around and noticed the colorful mosaic that covered the walls up to her shoulders. Above the mosaic, the walls were adorned with thick wooden frames in which there were displayed paintings, mirrors or olden days guns, knives or swords. Several lamps dispersed a gentle light like colorful honey, creating a cozy atmosphere. The waiter returned and placed a round silver tray in front of her. On it was a steaming silver teapot, a tiny glass, and a few cubes of sugar. He started pouring the tea in the glass, then back into the teapot. He repeated this ritual several times. The strong, refreshing fragrance of the mint reminded her of her grandmother's herbs garden. Mint, basil, dill, coriander, rosemary. Lena loved to rub their leaves between her fingers, then pass her fingers through her hair. Later on, in bed, she would smell her fragrant hair until she fell asleep. Lena's dark, open hair was reaching the silver belt of her navy blue kaftan. Her arms were lifted in the air, while the rest of her body was faithfully obeying the fast rhythm of the drums. The sand was warm under her feet. Her movements synchronized perfectly with those of the other women. They were taking turns to perform in front of a cheerful audience. When her turn came, Lena stepped forward with ease and started rotating her head with fast movements, causing her hair to furiously sweep the warm evening breeze. She felt energized and free, like a bird who escaped from its cage. Sarah and Donna will also be there. It will be fun, said Anna with anticipation. I'm sorry, I need to catch up on my studies, replied Lena with an unconvincing tone. Are you avoiding us or what? Anna asked, a little annoyed. You refuse all our invites. I'm really sorry, it's not what you think. One day I will tell you, I promise, replied Lena, feeling under scrutiny. Lena borrowed from the school library all the books written by Arab authors she could find. She was walking around the corridors with stacks of old books under the amused looks of her colleagues. She managed to read The Arabian Nights, poetry books by Nizar Qabbani and Khalil Gibran, Men in the Sun by Ghassan Kanafani, Cities of Salt by Abdul Rahman Munif, and many more. It wasn't entirely due to the kind of books she read that Lena was fast becoming the weirdest girl in the whole high school. Her dressing style also started to change. Long and large skirts were replacing her tight jeans. Lena. She heard Mr. Sean, the history teacher, calling her name, but she had no idea what she was supposed to say or do. An awkward silence was filling the classroom. "What keeps you so busy?" asked Mr. Sean, approaching her desk. Lena had no time to hide the book she was reading. The teacher took the book and his face showed much surprise. "Despite your exquisite taste in choosing books," said Mr. Sean, "I will have to give you a very low mark today." Days went by, and the long-awaited summer holiday finally arrived with its lazy morning and short, starry nights. Lena continued to listen to her Arabic music, to learn Arabic, and to read books written by Arab authors. One morning, Lena woke up with a strange feeling that something important was going to happen that day. This inkling followed her throughout the day and made her pay close attention to her surroundings. Towards the evening, her parents went for a walk. She preferred to stay home, as usual. She suddenly remembered her grandmother and her passing 2 years ago. She missed her deeply. She went to bring the family album from her parents' room so she could see her grandma's face. As she lifted the album, a large yellow envelope caught her attention. She took it and examined it. There was no word on any of its sides. Lena opened it slowly, and inside, she found several old photos of her mom surrounded by people Lena never met. Men wearing long tunics and red fez, beautiful women in colorful kaftans. The red fez reminded her of the waiter of the Moroccan restaurant. Lena felt weak and dizzy as her breathing became shallow. Her mom was wearing a light blue kaftan and a diadem adorned her head. It was her mother's wedding. But that man was not the man Lena knew as her father. Who was he then? Whose daughter was she? She felt helpless not knowing who she really was. She felt she had the right to know. Lena used her phone to take pictures of all these old photos so she could look at them later. She forgot why she came to her parents' room. She forgot about her grandmother. All she could think of was the handsome young man standing happy and proud next to her mom in those wedding pictures. They were holding hands. It looked so unreal. So many questions were burning her mind. She was thirsty for answers.